Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not, and continuing our Pick 10 special edition, we have Timeline, one of my picks in this special edition. Uh, man, why does it have to turn all the time? Stop. Uh, and this is a movie I wanted to tackle for quite some time, actually. It's a time travel movie. You know how much I love time travel movies, like Back to the Future, Time Machine, Time Cop, and this is another time travel movie. And the story revolves around some archaeologists who travel back from 2003 to the year 1357 in Castlegar, France, which is a fictional French country, French city, I guess I should say. Uh, when one of their colleagues, who is the father of Paul Walker's character, again, uh, goes missing. So, so yes. So I know a lot of people are going to point out the inconsistencies historically about certain things. Like I watch History Buff's video. If you want to know all about the historical inaccuracies, watch History Buff's video because it details a lot of things. But there are a couple of things I do want to point out, and that like there is a language barrier. Like the English we speak now would not be the English that they speak there. Even the French that we speak now, or even in 2003, would not be the same as the French spoken in 1357. So they're archaeologists on a dig. We have our characters Chris, played by Paul Walker, Kate, played by Frances O'Connor, Andre Merrick, played by Jerry Butler, uh, Professor Chris's dad, played by Billy O'Connolly, Francois, played by Rossif Sutherland, and Stern, played by Ethan Embry. And they're the basic characters we get to know, Professor Chris's dad is called to New Mexico by a group called INF or something like that. I don't remember. IFT, ITF, whatever. He's called there, and a couple of days later, they're exploring this tomb. Inside the tomb, they find an eyeglass, like one of the glass from glasses, one of the eyeglass glasses, a bifocal lens, a lens. There we go, a bifocal lens. But the bifocals weren't invented until the 1700s, and then a message directly from Professor Chris's dad telling them that he needs help. There's also a tomb of a man and a woman, one of which is missing his ear. And luckily, they don't read any further because, but they find it weird that a man and a woman would be holding each other's hands inside the tomb because that's not how they did it back then. We find out something, you know. So, Chris intends to find out what's going on and only gets cooperation when he threatens to call the police on these people. And he's brought to the science lab where we meet David Thewlis and the guy who's in a lot of things, but I don't know the actor's name. He was in Happy Birthday to Me. He was in he was the dad. He was Shia LaBeouf's dad in Disturbia, and he's been in quite a few other things. And they are basically the scientists here. And then there's a leader of this group that's going back, and the leader of this group is Neil McDonough, who you may know from Arrow or Star Trek First Contact. He's been in a lot of things. And he's basically leading this group, and they're going to go back to get Professor Chris's dad to save him. And they say that, that they need Andre Merrick, They need Merrick because he knows the lay of the land, and they say they need Francois because he can speak French fluently. But Chris is going to go because it's his father, and Kate goes because she also knows the land. And it's basically one of those, oh, I know it just as much as Merrick does, which, yes, but this is 2003, and women weren't looked upon as strong characters yet. So she's a pretty strong character in this. Kate kicks some ass. Well, not as much as you'd see nowadays, but she does all right. So, and while we're on the topic, okay, I don't get how some people, mostly women, will like wag their finger at a character that's portrayed as a damsel in distress. They're like, women aren't like that anymore. And in a lot of movies nowadays, you don't get that. A lot of movies nowadays, women are written to be as strong as men. The problem I have with that, and it's a very small problem, is that I understand you want to have strong female characters. But if it wasn't for the damsel in distress female characters, these strong female characters would not have a leg to stand on. Because if it wasn't for these damsels in distress, it was a generation. There was a generation of damsels in distress in movies and TV, and because of that, we had strongly written females nowadays. Whereas if it wasn't for them being written like that, and all the trials and tribulations that these female characters went through, from script to screen to everything, I don't think we'd be getting these strong female characters because there wouldn't be anything to compare them to. And even in those types of movies, those types of female characters, there are even some characters, damsel in distress, that will later be written very well. Example, Elizabeth Swann in the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. In the first one, she is a damsel in distress. By the third film, she is an ass kicker. It's called story progression, folks. Sometimes you need it. Another one, Hermione. In the first film, she could be your typical damsel in distress, although she is never, But by the third film, at least, she's kicking Malfoy's ass. So, sometimes a damsel in distress female character is needed. Especially in the beginning, as that character can move forward. Kate is kind of a mix of in between. As she's not really a damsel in distress. She doesn't get captured, but everyone gets captured. And she eventually moves forward to being not a straightforward ass kicker. Same thing with Lady Claire. And she is captured at the beginning of this. And then Andre Merrick, a strong, burly man with a beard, has to save her. When they go back in time, immediately there is a problem. Because despite the fact that Neil McDonough says we can't bring modern weapons back, one of his men brings a grenade and then tries to go back. The grenade blows up, damaging the machine. So now, Stern, David Thewlis, and the other guy who's in a bunch of movies, but I don't know the name of the actor, they have to try to fix the machine. And the rest of them are captured. But Andre Merrick meets Lady Claire, who we have been told is supposed to die in order to turn the war to the side of the French. The rest of them are captured by Lord Oliver, played by Michael Sheen. And his second in command is Decker, formerly Decker, played by an actor I've seen before, but again, I don't know the actor's name. Apparently, he was one of the people working for this group, one of Neil McDonough's group from before, who turned on them, I guess. I don't know, they don't explain it enough. But eventually, they're able to escape, and Andre Merrick gets away with Lady Claire and takes her back to her brother in France. And you think this is supposed to save her, but she ends up getting captured anyway, and they just say, oh, it's history. No, it's them realizing, oh, we need Lady Claire at this climax, so let's just write her in there. There is no scene in between. They try to explain it away by saying that that they made her a spy and that's how she got captured again. But it's just the writers going, oh no, she needs to be involved in the final battle. I'm pretty sure the book did it better. The book by Michael Crichton, who also wrote Jurassic Park, the book probably explained it better. Oh, they also explain like the language barrier stuff. Like they have little ear thingies that translate it for them. So yeah, they get there and they meet Oliver. Like I said, and Oliver immediately kills Francois because he's French. Like he says he's a spy, but they say he's not. He's, well, you're too tall to be a spy, and then says "Je suis espionnant" or something like that. I am a spy, basically in French. Again, I'm not going to go into this whole thing, but he makes him say it, makes him translate it. So he says it. As soon as he does, he gets stabbed, and it's like, what's the point of having this character if you're going to have him killed right away? And even the way this scene is written makes no sense to me, because it makes him say, I am a spy, just so he says it out loud and everyone else can hear it and he can stab him for it. It's basically writing this character off, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, if you were going to kill him off, leave him in the 21st century with Stern. Stern would have made more sense if they were just going to kill him off. Kill Stern. Stern doesn't do anything anyway, but it's never made sense to me how, oh, you got to come back because you speak French. He translates one phrase, which is run, basically. And he says run, and then he's killed. So what's the point of bringing him back? Who knows? The rest of them are captured. They're brought with Chris's dad, whose beard is somehow shorter than it was last time. I'm assuming he shaved before he went to New Mexico, and then he grew it out over the next couple. How long has he gone? Because he shaved, that's not a 2-day beard. This is a 2-day beard. I shaved on the 31st of October. I shaved that morning, Halloween morning, and I'm sitting here the 2nd of November at 2:45 p.m. Central Time, and this is a 2-day beard. And yet, we're supposed to believe that Billy Connolly has shaved his beard down. Maybe he didn't shave it all the way. Maybe he just took clippers and I don't know. By the way, we're also supposed to believe that Billy Connolly is Paul Walker's dad, even though Billy Connolly is very much Scottish, and Paul Walker is surfer dude American. I mean, he's whiter than a piece of bread. And this is the same year that he would be in a Fast and Furious movie. He goes, "Pockets an empty car." Yeah, I don't know. Paul Walker was the typical white boy. And they have him being the son of a Scottish man. And I understand if it was his grandfather, there's a language barrier there. Sure. But is that? I don't know. So anyway, they get separated, and it's supposed they're not able to they try to use their markers to get back to Kent, and it's supposed that Chris and Kate are killed, and then McDonald is killed by Daguerre and his men, while Professor Chris's dad and Merrick are taken in back to Oliver, because he's promised Oliver Greek fire, which history buffs would tell you couldn't happen because no one knows the recipe for Greek fire. So Chris's dad knowing how to do it doesn't make any sense. Professor Chris's dad, excuse me. Yeah. It makes no sense. But, yeah. So the big day of the battle comes, and Chris and Kate make it to the monks that were working with Professor Chris's dad, and they realize, they get to the place where they found the tunnel, and Kate realized she's the one that has to break it because the seal was broken when they found it earlier, and so they go through the tunnel. Meanwhile, Lady Claire's brother Arnaud has also found them, and they get through, and we get this big battle started, and it turns out Merrick is the one who he destroys the arsenal, and it causes an explosion which creates a hole for them to sneak through. So Merrick did it the entire time. And when we get to the end of this, I will explain how the time travel works, how I believe the time travel works. But anyway, Lady Claire, like I said, is found. They're going to hang her. But Andre's like, hey, you let her go, or I will destroy your arsenal. And he's like, you won't do it. You won't do it. It will hurt her too. And I'll do it. And he does it, and it blows the hole out and them to get through. And they're like, Chris, you're alive. Kate, thank God. And like, we need to get out of here. And then Merrick and the other Decaire, they have a fight and roll down the stairs. And he saves Lady Claire. Like, how many times is she gonna get scared by Merrick? There's like 2 or 3 times where he goes to save her. She's like, he's like, it's me. Merrick decides to stay behind while the others get to the marker. Meanwhile, in the 21st century, David Thewlis is a bad guy. Yeah, I don't understand this either. It's only to load out the runtime because they're trying to fix it. And then all of a sudden, the guy whose name I never know in any movie shows, comes in and goes, what are you doing? And basically, David Thewlis is gathering stuff. He goes, we're just going to put it away, and we're going to come back, and we're going to start from scratch. He's like, what are you doing? And then they have a scuffle, which pushes him. He hits his head on this metal thing that contains the costumes, and we're supposed to believe he died from that. I don't know, and then David Thewlis goes back, and Stern locks him out. And then he's like, where's the other guy? Where's the other guy? And then he's locked out, and they get the machine working. It's like 81%, and so the others, they run and they do it to the machine, but David Thewlis goes out and he tries to take apart the coils, but he gets stuck in the machine, and the time travel happens, and Chris, Kate, Professor Chris's dad, they all come back, right, leaving Merrick behind and sending David Thewlis back to 14th century France, where he gets decapitated, PG-13 style, by one of the soldiers that was following them. And the other 3 go back, and then we cut to a scene that explains the couple. It turns out the couple, I should point out that during the battle, Aunt Merrick gets his ear cut off. And that's when he realizes, it was me. It was me. So basically, he chooses to stay behind, but also he knows he has to because of the ear. And so the couple that were together in stone holding hands was Merrick and Lady Claire. And it's revealed they had 3 children, Christophe, Catherine, and Francois, named after Chris, Kate, and Francois. And even Kate says, if Merrick had come back with us, what would have happened? Paradox. Because as soon as Chris's dad came back, when Professor Chris's dad went back in time, it set forth a sequence of events that had to happen. Lady Claire was now supposed to survive, and Merrick had to stay behind. If he had come back with them, there would be another paradox. Because from the point that Professor Chris's dad went back, it changed history. They found the lens. Kate was the one who broke the foundation, broke the seal. And so everything from that point had to happen. And it all just kind of went down like dominoes. It wasn't like, I have to do this. Except for when Kate says, it's me, I'm the one, I did it, I do this. And then Andre gets flashed in the ear and goes, it was me. And so he knows he has to stay behind So he was never not gonna stay behind, because even if he didn't want to, he now has to. Just lucky for him, he fell in love with Lady Claire. And I know History Buffs points out that there's, like them kissing would not make much sense, because like there's disease and stuff back then. He could have something. He said, and the History Buffs even said, like, even something as simple as the common cold from 2003 could be something they don't have a cure for in 14th century France. So who knows, like, if Andre would survive. I don't remember how long it says that they lived, but they died together apparently. But that also begs the question: if history was changed, does Andre now have descendants that are Scottish with French, that speak French? Are they descendants of Christophe, Catherine, and Francois now, perhaps, in the future? And was our Francois potentially related to them? He existed before history changed, so most likely not. He's just a namesake. But, it's very interesting. And the movie ends with that, I should mention this movie was directed by Richard Donner, rest in peace. The original score was going to be done by Jerry Goldsmith, rest in peace. But that didn't happen that way. He ended up doing, it would have been his last score, but they went over it with Brian Tyler, who would have a connection to the Fast and the Furious franchise with Paul Walker. I mean, the score is actually decent, but I think Goldsmith would have done a better job. The effects in this movie, not bad. Not bad at all. Yes, the time travel stuff was all over the place. I don't think it would go down the way that it did, but who knows? I still think this is a pretty good movie. Pretty good, in my opinion. Not just because I picked it. So, down to one, because there's 6 movies left, as you can see. So we roll the dice. Hold on, let me do it again. The thing moved. Fell off. Hold on. Hello. It fell off. Ay, ay, ay. I thought I was tightening it. Turns out I was loosening it. Okay. So let's do this again. Set that down. Alright. So now, let's roll the dice again, shall we? 4 this time. It was a 1 before, but it didn't go on camera, so it doesn't count. So it's a 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come on now. So let's see what we got here. Oh, it's another one of mine, unfortunately. Oh. So let's hit another joint. Let's roll. You don't know how it feels. You don't know how it feels. So I'm gonna keep the dice roll and go to number 4. But I just, hold on. Number 4, and I've all right. Here we go. All right. Try this again. All right. Twister, 2-year Easter. All right. Twister. So we went and we have one from each of us now. I didn't plan it out that way. I could have gotten another one from Eric or my son or Brandon, but we went in order. Hopefully it goes a different order in the second round of these, but I did not plan it this way. So where's the... Here. You guys saw it was going to be another one of mine, but, I want to have be more sporadic with these, so... So Twister is the next movie on the list. It's the next one. Okay. So what are your thoughts on Twister? No. What are your thoughts on Timeline? No comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.